Hey guys, welcome back. Another episode here of Banish the Doubt. In this morning's episode, what I want to talk about is how we how we are creating our reality in each and every moment. Your reality is what you say it is in each and every moment. And I want to show you a couple of examples, experiments that were done that really hit home with this, that really have you understand what reality is. It is exactly what you say it is, and how the stuff that is in the universe is actually who you and I are. We are it, and it is us. So the first experiment was back in, that actually says 1909, it should be 1809. And scientists took a simple photon, it was a beam of light. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to see if it would just go through a barrier and hit a target. So they sent it out. It went through an opening and hit the target. Exactly what they thought it would do, and it did it. This is known as the double slit experiment. But what they did after the first attempt with the photon was they took the barrier and they put two openings in it, so the double slit. Once they shot the photon from here to the barrier, it disappeared. And they were perplexed. What happened? It disappeared. They don't understand what happened. And then it reappeared here and hitting the target, but not as a matter. It hit the target as a wave. It changed itself in order to go through both openings as a wave, and it hit the target. It showed that our consciousness, because remember, the scientists knew there was two openings. Photon can't know anything, but the scientists knew there were their consciousness, and they knew there were two openings. The photon changed itself in order to accommodate. So it showed that our consciousness affects our physical world. It changed the particles of our world. That was in 1809. So you could Google that. It's called the double slit experiment. In the early 90s, Vladimir Paponin from Russia had a similar experiment. What he did was he took just a jar, an empty jar, and he sucked all the air out of it, creating a vacuum. What he said was there were still photons floating around inside. He examined them, and it showed that they were sort of flitting about. Nothing new. They said that's kind of what they expected. But he said, what happens if I were to add what you and I are made of, DNA, into the glass jar? So he added the DNA into the jar. What happened was what astounded him and the other scientists. The photons took the shape of our DNA. They found it, and when they looked at the DNA and the photons, it was exactly the same as our DNA. So then they decided, okay, well, we move the DNA. What's that going to do to the photons? And to their amazement, the photons kept the same shape as the DNA. So physically, the photons physically changed in arrangement to our DNA. In this experiment, you want to Google this as well. It's called the DNA phantom effect. So what this underscores is that you and I, our reality is exactly what we say it is in every single moment. The memories you have of anything in your life is nothing more than something that you're creating in this moment. You're creating the memory in this moment. So anything, any desires we have, anything like that, we created in our mind in this moment. And we are perfection. We are exactly what we say we are in each and every moment. The challenge is that everywhere around us, society shows us opposite. Society is showing us what how we're supposed to think. But society, the great paradox is society is you pushed out. Whatever it is that you're seeing in your world is what you're making of it. So everybody in your world, all the events taking place in your world, everything going on is you pushed out. So, say for instance, um, someone were to take a cell phone, and put it up in front of you and say, "Hey, I'm going to take a photo of you." And you immediately say, "No, no, no, I can't. I got to fix my hair, if you're a lady, you got to fix my nails, whatever it may be, a guy, I got to fix whatever it may be." What you're saying in that moment is, I'm not good enough for the world to see. I don't like the way I look. I have to look a certain way for the physical world outside to appreciate or to validate me. When you're taking, um, whenever, if something were to happen, let's say today at your job, and the boss or you're the owner of the company or whatever it may be, or if you own your own company, a customer, um, I'll just use the boss as an example, decides, you hear that, hey, the boss wants to talk to you, or the owner of the company wants to talk to you. You're in that moment reaction. I would want you to understand is telling you exactly how you see yourself. And if the reaction, or if the feeling you get, not a reaction, let's say the feeling you get is anything other than sure, then what you're telling yourself in that moment is, I'm not good enough. I'm flawed. There's something wrong with me. I want you to remember this from that point on. Anytime something in your perceived world something in your world is perceived not to be going the way you want to go, take it back to that moment and say, it's just playing out, okay? Just like this. The world is reacting, just like here in the DNA. The world is changing to fit your DNA, how you see yourself. Because remember, the photons, the world is just flitting about. Once we introduce your DNA, your thinking into the world says, okay, this is how you are. We're going to now stay that way. We're going to adjust to your thinking. And if we remove the DNA, well, it's still there. Nothing's changed. Change the way you see yourself. Change how you think. Change how you think about yourself and your reality, and everything changes. Your assumptions, your beliefs of who you are, what this world is like, your perceptions on how you see this world, your definitions on how you see yourself play out in every moment, because that's the way you are seeing it. I'm not saying it's the way you want it, but it's the way you're seeing it. And the great um, awareness is to be able to step back, and like in this example and in this example above, see it. There is nothing going on in this world other than what you're saying it is. The world in every moment of your life is exactly what you say it is. This is why you can hear stories of people healing themselves. They're not healing themselves. They're changing how they see themselves. I am perfect health. And once they get to that point, once they can raise to the energetic level of that, everything else changes. The world changes to adjust to that thinking. Hoping you're understanding this. So there is no cancer. You are not an addicted person to an addiction to any kind of substance. You're choosing that narrative because you're playing that over in your mind. Change the way you see yourself, and then this phantom, the DNA phantom effect example shows the world must conform to your belief, your assumption, your perception, your definition of yourself. It must, because again, the experiment shows that everything in your world is exactly the way it's supposed to be, because that's what you're telling yourself the world is in every single moment. If you would like to have a deeper conversation about this, challenges maybe with anything going on in your world, go to my channel, click on a link, and I'd be happy to sit and talk with you further about this. Make it a great day. Remember, it is a great day, whether you decide it or not. It is what you say it is. Thank you.